Hi everyone, welcome to my Treasure the Art. Hope you are doing good. So, earlier this week, I was just wondering what I should paint for today's video, and I felt like God was constantly highlighting the rainbow to me. Once from this painting I had made sometime last year, once from another painting I had made for someone, and once more through an image from my gallery. And as I looked at these rainbows, I was reminded of what the rainbow originally meant, not just as something pretty, but as a sign of His promise, which we get from Noah's story in Genesis. That's when I knew what I was going to be painting today. I am painting another rainbow, a fresh one, because sometimes we need a fresh reminder that God is still faithful. But before we begin, I just want to tell you all that as always, I started this video by drawing it from scratch, but unfortunately, due to some technical issues, I lost my drawing part videos, and because of that I will be able to show only the painting process, and I'm really sorry for that. So from this little intro you would have figured that I'm going to talk about God's promises today. Maybe you are in a place where you believe that God is a faithful father and that He will definitely fulfill all He has promised you. Or maybe you are in a place where you are finding it hard to believe that God is a faithful Father and that He will keep His promises. If you are in either of these places, then today's video is for you. Many of us carry promises spoken over our lives through a prophetic word, a verse that stood out during prayer, or a whisper in a quiet moment with God. These promises feel personal. They become anchors for our faith. And sometimes they are so specific that we hold on tightly, believing God will bring them to pass in His perfect time. But then comes the waiting, and as time passes, delay can begin to feel like denial. We wonder if we misunderstood, or if maybe we heard God wrong. The longer it takes, the louder the doubt becomes. Delay can often become a breeding ground for disbelief, not because God is late, but because we don't always understand His timing, nor do we understand His nature and character. That's when we start questioning the moment we received that promise. Was that really God? Did I make it up? Was that person even hearing from Him? These questions creep in quietly, but they carry so much weight. And because we have been holding on to a promise for a long time, sometimes people also might discourage you by saying that it wasn't God's voice, or God didn't make that promise to you, or that you just imagined that. And sometimes people even go to the extent of saying that that wasn't God speaking to you, but the devil. Can you relate to this? I certainly can. And before we know it, we begin to let go of the very thing God asked us to believe for. But honestly, sometimes people may fail to deliver the message, or sometimes we might misunderstand what God was trying to tell us. But that doesn't mean that God is not a faithful father or that He has failed you. There were times when I felt that I heard from God or that He has made me a certain promise. But even after waiting for a while, the thing I was waiting for didn't come to pass. So I got discouraged and disappointed. But when God came through, I got even more than I was expecting and praying for. It's in times like these that I am reminded of how good and faithful a father He is. And just because it didn't happen the way I thought it would, or at the time I was expecting it to, doesn't mean He didn't keep His word. Believing in God's promises often means believing in things that science, logic, or human reasoning cannot explain. It's about walking by faith, not by sight. Trusting in what is unseen and sometimes completely unprovable by human standards. When our plans don't work out, when we see closed doors or missed opportunities, we tend to go back to natural thinking. We look at life through a lens of what makes sense and not through the lens of the supernatural. But God's ways are higher and His process doesn't always look like how we pictured it. The real danger isn't in the delay, it's in not knowing the nature of the Father and not knowing how to respond to the delay. When we stop believing that He is faithful, we begin to unravel internally. The process breaks down not because God failed, but because our trust weakened in the middle of the wait. It's a slow spiral. Doubt leads to fear. Fear leads to striving and creates messes that we never really needed to get into. That mess gives birth to disappointment, and disappointment, left unhealed, turns into frustration or even anger, sometimes towards God Himself. So, if you find yourself in that spiral today, somewhere between doubt and disappointment, wondering if God really meant what He said, I want to gently remind you that God has not forgotten you, and His promises are still alive, even if you can't see them today. Sometimes the greatest act of faith is simply holding on when everything in you wants to let go. You don't need to strive. You don't need to make it happen. You just need to stay anchored in the truth that your Father is good, He is faithful, and He keeps His promises. The rainbow isn't just a beautiful symbol in the sky. It's a sign of a covenant-keeping God. One who remembers, one who sees, and one who never fails. So today, instead of leaning into fear, anxiety, insecurity, anxiousness, frustration, or even natural logic, Lean into his character. Let your heart rest, not because everything makes sense, but because you trust the one who holds it all together. And in that place of rest, you will find peace, clarity, and the strength you need in the wait. So, based on whatever I have shared with you all, I want Morris also to share some things from his life with you all.
Okay, so related to whatever Charlotte has been speaking in this video. So for today, she was talking about God's faithfulness and God's promises. I'd just like to share a little bit that I have experienced in my life. So I'll share 5 points, and the first one will be don't question your worth based on your circumstance. So during the wait, when I was waiting for my life partner, I really felt like I am not lovable, I am not good enough. Will anyone ever love me? And maybe you are wrestling with similar thoughts or something else. But I just want to say, you have immense worth and immense value to God. You were created with a plan and a purpose. You are not a mistake. So regardless of what may be going on around you, and regardless of how long you have been waiting, don't ever question your worth or your value. The second point would be trust in God's goodness and faithfulness and in His right timing. So while I wanted to get married at 26, I don't think it was the right time. I was really immature. And I think if I met Charlotte at that time, I would have probably messed things up. And I don't think Charlotte was ready for me either. And so, it probably just wouldn't have worked out. 33 was the right age for me. 28 was the right age for her. And God just worked it out so beautifully. So I would just, encourage you all to just trust in His timing. The third point would be make the most of the wait. So either you're waiting for a life partner, or you're waiting for a child, or you're waiting for a job opportunity, whatever it may be. I'll say make the most of this time. Focus on yourself, focus on your identity, your insecurities, whatever things you're wrestling with, work on those things. So for me, what I had to learn in the wait was I had to learn to let go of control, learn to let go of fear, frustration, doubt, insecurities, whatever it was. I just had to come to a point of, what? God really loves me. God has my best interest in mind, and I can fully trust Him. So I just let go. I learned to rest, and that is when things really started falling into place. The fourth point that I'd like to share is gratitude goes a long way. So if you are in a place where you're questioning the promise that you got, was that really God? Did I really hear God's voice? Does God see me? Can He relate? Has He forgotten me? Whatever it may be that you're questioning, I'd just like to remind you, remember the good things that He has done for you in the past. Remember the good things that have happened in your life. Because when you remember those things, you will realize that if God was good to me then, He will be good to me now also. Because the scripture says that He is the same yesterday, today and forever. He does not change. So you can trust Him that He is good and He will be good to you. So remember to be grateful. And the fifth point that I'd like to share is the wait is always worth it. So after finally meeting Charlotte at 33 and after being married for a few years, I can tell you guaranteed from my experience that the wait really is worth it. Even though it may be frustrating when you're waiting, you might feel like, oh my God, I want to pull my hair out of my head. What is God doing? It may feel like that in the moment. But in hindsight, you'll be like, I'm so grateful I didn't meet her at that time. I didn't mess this up, So I'll say the wait is always worth it. Trust God. He is a good God. He's a good Father. And He only has the best in store for you. So yeah, that's all I got to share. Yeah.
Whatever Morris shared, that was really beautiful, and I hope it will be helpful for you. I hope you are blessed by whatever he has shared from his experiences. So, this is the final look of my painting. I hope you enjoyed this video and were blessed by it. I hope whatever I shared and Maurice shared was helpful for you. Please let us know in the comment section.
And Rosalind Wilson, I want to give you a shout out. Look, I have cut my hair and groomed myself just as you requested. And so I hope you are happy. And now you owe us. I would encourage you to please share this video with everyone you know, and get your friends and family to subscribe and support Charlotte on this journey. Hope you all enjoyed this video, and we will see you all in the next one. Have a blessed week. Bye.